Hi guys, this is Ms. Schulich, and today we're going to be learning about TP-CASTT poetry analysis. The reason that we use TP-CASTT when analyzing a poem is oftentimes we read a poem and then we're like, whoa, I have no clue what I just read. And so by doing it this way, you really take your time, you look at the author's word choice and how they wrote the poem, and then what their greater meaning was. Because oftentimes in poetry, the author will say something but it means something a little bit different. So you have to really analyze it. So the first thing we do whenever we're doing TP-CASTT is we look at the title. We consider the title and we make a prediction of what the poem is about. We don't read the poem first. The first thing we do is we look at the title. So our poem right here is called A Real Case. So I'm going to think about, what do I think a real case would be about? Well, the first thing that comes to mind would be a crime. Maybe a crime happened. So maybe there's an investigation. Okay. Or maybe it's talking about not like crime or detectives. Maybe it's talking about case like a suitcase or a briefcase. Okay, so maybe our poem is about one of those four things. You might have more ideas, but you want to shoot for at least, make 3 predictions about what the poem could be about. Okay, so as you'll know, that in the box next to title, I put done on poem. That's because we're going to write that information right next to the title of the poem. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to paraphrase. That means we're going to translate the poem line by line, or in this case, we're going to do stanza by stanza into our own words. So we're going to read what the author says and then put that in our own words. Okay, and if we don't know a word, we're going to look that up in the dictionary and we're going to write the definition of the word next to that word on the poem. Okay, this is also done in the poem. So let's read the poem once all the way through and then we'll start paraphrasing stanza by stanza. A Real Case by Sarah Holbrook. Doubtful I have a fever or any other measurable symptom. I'm just down with a sniffly case of sudden self-loathing syndrome. Today it hit like a thwop of mashed potatoes snapped against a plate, an unrequested extra serving of just for now self-hate. Today I'm worthless, a leftover bath, a wad of secondhand gum. I belong in a twist-tied bag with the rest of the toys that won't run. My mood's as welcome as incoming dog breath or a terminal case of split ends. I sparkle like a dust rag. I could attract mosquitoes. Maybe, not friends. In fact, I could be contagious. I'm a downer to say the least, and if you try to push my mood swing, I'll only drag my feet. Why, I couldn't tell you. Just some days I get up and get down. It's not a permanent disability, though. Tomorrow, I'll come around. Okay? So now we're going to start looking at that stanza by stanza, and we're going to paraphrase. So it first says doubtful. So we got to think about what the word doubtful means. If you don't know what it means, you look it up. Okay? So doubtful means not sure. Okay? Not sure I have a fever or any other measurable symptom. So if you have a fever or you have a symptom, you're sick. So not sure I'm sick. Okay. But it says I'm just down with a sniffly case of sudden self-loathing syndrome. So what is a syndrome? So a syndrome is like a disease or a case. Okay. A case of something. Of a sickness. And so they have, what disease do they have? Self-loathing. Okay, that's a word we're probably going to need to look up, but we can find out that means hate. So, not sure I'm sick, but they have self-hate syndrome. So, but today they are, not sure I'm sick, but today I hate myself. So that's what the author's saying. Okay, so that's the paraphrase for that first stanza. Okay, now we're going to do the paraphrase for the second stanza. Today, it hit like a thwop of mashed potatoes snapped against my plate. Okay? So when it has today in all caps, the author is emphasizing. And they say it hit like a thwop of mashed potatoes snapped against the plate. So do you think this came about slowly or quickly? Well, if they say today in all caps and exclamation points, and then they say it's thwopping, it's probably coming about quickly. So it came about quickly. Okay, and then it says an unrequested extra serving of just for now self-hate. Well, it says unrequested. Did they want this? No. So it came out quickly, and I didn't want it or see it coming. Okay? Now we go to the next stanza. Okay? We're paraphrasing again. Today I'm worthless. A leftover bath, a wad of secondhand gum. I belong in a twist-tied bag with the rest of the toys that won't run. Okay, well, is she really a leftover bath and a wad of secondhand gum? Okay, no. So basically, we can start with I'm worthless, okay? And a leftover bath and a wad of secondhand gum. I'm worthless like trash, basically, okay? I don't care about myself much, is what it's saying. I belong in a twist-tied bag with the rest of the toys that don't run, okay? I should be thrown away, basically, is what she's saying, okay? Now let's go to the next one. Okay, my mood's as welcome as incoming dog breath, a terminal case of split ends, okay, or a terminal case of split ends. So if something's would you want dog breath or split ends? Are these things you want? No, okay? So it's saying my mood is not welcome. All right, and then it says, I sparkle like a dust rag. Well, does a dust rag sparkle? Have you ever dusted with a rag and seen it? No, it's dirty and gross. Okay, I could attract mosquitoes, maybe, not friends. So would you want mosquitoes around you? I sure wouldn't. So I'm gross, like a dust rag, and nobody wants to be around me. Okay? In fact, I could be contagious. I'm a downer to say the least. And if you try to push my mood swing, I'll only drag my feet. Well, what does contagious mean? Contagious means it's going to spread. So my mood might spread, okay? And when it says, and if you try to push my mood swing, I'll only drag my feet. So if they try to make me feel better, I'll resist. Why? I couldn't tell you. Just some days I get up and get down. It's not a permanent disability, though. Tomorrow I'll come around. Okay? So, they don't know why they have a bad mood. Why? I couldn't tell you. Okay, I don't know why I have a bad mood. It just happens sometimes. Okay, that's why it says some days I get up and some days I get down. It's not a permanent disability. So this is a sickness, but it's not a permanent disability. It's not something that's going to last forever. Okay? It says it's not a permanent disability though. Tomorrow I'll come around. So my mood will be better tomorrow. Okay? It's not going to last forever. So now that we've done the paraphrase, the rest of this is going to become a lot easier. Okay? So now we're going to move to the next thing, connotation. With connotation, you examine the poem for meaning beyond the literal level. So we look at figurative language and we're going to highlight that. Okay? So let's read and we're going to try to find figurative language. Doubtful I have a fever or any other measurable symptom. I'm just down with a sniffly case of sudden self-loathing syndrome. Okay, so right here we have a metaphor because the author is comparing their bad mood to being sick. So bad mood equals sickness. Okay, and I'm going to highlight metaphor in yellow too, so I know I have a metaphor right there. Okay. Today it hit like a thwop of mashed potatoes snapped against my plate. Okay. So right here we have a simile because it's comparing two things using like or as. So it's comparing how it came about with a thwop of mashed potatoes. So I'm going to pick a new color now. I'm going to put my connotation. And here we have a simile. And it's saying that it came, it's comparing bad mood coming to mashed potatoes. Okay, and looking at my paraphrase, that helps me as well. Okay, next it says, today I'm worthless. Okay, so they think they're worthless. They think they're a leftover bath and a wad of secondhand gum. All right, are they actually those things? No. So they're comparing themselves without using a like or as, which means it's another metaphor. So I'm going to put connotation. And since I've already highlighted metaphor up here in yellow, I don't need to write metaphor again because we know yellow equals metaphor. So comparing myself to trash. That's what's going on. Okay. Now we need to do the next stanza. My mood is as welcome as incoming dog breath or a terminal case of split ends. Well, if we're comparing using like or as, we have a simile, which is blue. And we've already made our key for that up above. We highlighted simile in blue. And so we're comparing, okay? So that's telling us that mood is not welcome. Okay? I sparkle like a dust rag. I could attract mosquitoes, maybe not friends. Oh, look, we have another simile. Okay? And that just is showing my mood is not welcome and I'm not pleasant. Okay? In fact, I could be contagious. I'm a downer to say the least. And if you try to push my mood swing, I'll only drag my feet. Well, here we have another metaphor. Okay? Because they're comparing mood to a swing. Okay? Why? I couldn't tell you. Just some days I get up and get down. It's not a permanent disability though. Tomorrow I'll come around. Okay? So do we have any figurative language there? Yes. When it's saying I get up and I get down, that also can be a metaphor because up would be happy, down would be sad. Okay. Okay, and then I have completed my connotation, and I said I did that on the poem, which is what I've done correctly. All right. So now let's look at attitude/tone. Okay. So this is asking you, how does the author feel? What is their attitude? Okay. And when they're writing this poem, how does that narrator feel? Okay. Well, our narrator feels they're depressed. Okay. They're depressed because they are in a bad mood. Okay? So they're kind of depressed, they're in a bad mood. Okay, so that's the tone in the poem. But we have to ask ourselves, is that the tone for the whole poem? And that's what we have to think about right now. So we think that that's the tone of the poem, but we want to look and see if there are any shifts, if that attitude changes, okay? And so to do that, we're going to really look at this last stanza, okay? So in all the other stanzas, the author is depressed, sad, talking about the bad mood of the narrator. But here, we have a shift right here in these last 3 lines. It's not a permanent disability, though. Tomorrow, I'll come around. Okay, so we're going to look at what we wrote for connotation. My mood will be better tomorrow. Okay, so we see that there is a shift. So during the last stanza, the narrator shifts from being in a bad mood to hopeful, okay, that's important, that their mood will be better tomorrow. Okay, so we have that shift, we have that change. Now we're going to look at the title of this poem. Again, now that we've read it, we can really analyze and tell what the title means. All right, so our title is a real case. And we know that this real case is what? A bad mood. Okay? That is what the real case is. They have a real case of a bad mood. Okay? And that bad mood means that they kind of have self-hate. All right? Okay. So then we look at the theme of the poem. So here we briefly state in your own words what the poem is about. So the poem is about a bad mood / self-hate. Okay? But we are looking for a theme. We're looking for a lesson that we learn from this. Okay, so what's a lesson that we can learn? We want to use that idea of bad mood / self-hate, and we really want to look at our shift because the shift really helps us with our lesson. Okay, so the author teaches us, this is what we learn from them, and it applies to all of our lives. It's okay to have a bad mood some days, but you need to have hope that your mood will be better soon. Okay? Another theme, there's always multiple themes, guys, for each poem, each story you read. So another theme could be sometimes you have bad days, but they don't last forever. Okay? All right, guys, so that's the TP-CASTT process. It's really important that you go through all these steps for your entire poem because this will really help you succeed and it'll change how you read poetry. You'll go from not knowing what you're reading to having an understanding of what the author's trying to teach you. Okay, so I really hope that you will use TP-CASTT for all your future poetry analysis.